Hey, atheist, when I ask you a question, I don't want you to answer with something the scientist said, atheist. I'm going to corner you by doing this right here. Atheist, when I ask you a question, your answer's not acceptable if you can't provide a verifiable response. Alright? Because scientists' main way to lie is to say some complex information, provide like a half-assed, reasonable solution, what you would perceive it as, but they make sure that it sounds too complex for you to be able to understand. They want you to take your word for it. So they provide an explanation with something that sounds too complex for you to verify. Not only do they do that informationally, they do it with instruments that you can't use yourself. Alright. Don't look at NASA's picture of the Earth. It looks like CGI. If you look at it through like Neil deGrasse Tyson, like what y'all just do what Neil deGrasse Tyson said. Neil deGrasse Tyson said this one. He said, when you think something is true, no matter how true you think it is, review it, because there might be something fooling you in one way or another. Uh-oh. I lost the goddamn water. Uh-oh. So, that's my ass. I lost my water. Shit. Oh, there it is. So like Neil deGrasse, do what your leader said, atheist. Do what your questions and audit science, because I'm going to ask them some leaders, atheists. Atheists, audit your leaders. Since you want to question God, atheists, how about you take your own advice, and how about you follow your leader's advice? Your leader said, if you think something's true, no matter how true you think it is, investigate for yourself, because there may be something fooling you in one way or another. God made him say that because God can possess demons like demons possess people. Atheists, did you know that there's mental diseases where people talk to themselves? Atheists, do you know how intricate consciousness is? Atheists, do you expect me to believe that people develop separate strands of consciousness within themselves, and they can tell them something without their mind perceiving it as them? As in, they can process complex thoughts and perceive that thought without perceiving the process in which that thought came about. As in, they didn't think the thought, they received the thought. You see what I'm saying, atheists? So they didn't, the point of origin of the thought was not their own brain, it was another brain. And their brain processed it as if it was a question or a statement from another brain speaking to their brain. So you're telling me that consciousness can split and that a person can receive a statement within its own brain without, its brain recognizing the point of origin of that thought. No, it says they're demon possessed. Atheists, nobody ever thought that seizures, you like to say that people used to think, like Neil deGrasse Tyson used to say that people thought people were demon possessed when they had seizures. No, they didn't think that. They didn't think that at all. That's not what people used to. See, Neil deGrasse Tyson slanders Christianity a lot. Now, if you were smart, you would wonder, why are they slandering Christianity so much? Atheists. Neil deGrasse Tyson once said that there's only 3 documents that outside of the Bible that talk about Jesus' existence, and they were all proven out to be not true, fictional tale. Atheists, did you know that the Pharisees who killed Jesus, they were Jesus' enemies? They have writings about Jesus, and they said, atheists, Jesus' enemies documented that he did miracles, but they attributed it to magic. Atheists. That's how your leader is now established. If you go watch Space-Time Odyssey like I have, because I watched it a lot, you would know that Neil deGrasse Tyson said outside the Bible, Christianity, or Christ, has only been talked about 3 times. Well, that's a lie, because the Pharisees wrote about Christ a lot. The Romans wrote about Christ. The Romans verify that they hung Jesus Christ on a cross, Jesus Christ of Nazareth. The Romans verify that. Alright? The Romans themselves verify that. They were Jesus' enemy. Alright? Not only did the Romans verify that, the Pharisees, who were Jesus' enemy, verified that not only was Jesus real, not only was Jesus Christ of Nazareth real. Atheists, go read your book. Go read, what's it called? A Case for Christ. Atheists, go read A Case for Christ. It's a book about someone who was once an atheist that audited Christianity, and he was being completely honest with himself, and he could not prove Christianity false. You can't prove Christianity false. Atheists, I want you to take one statement that proves God not to be real. Like Albert Einstein said, I'm going to quote your leaders. I'm going to beat you with your own leaders, because Jesus is so smart, he will make you prove him right, because that's what Jesus did. Atheist Albert Einstein said, if my theory were wrong, it would only take one man, which I'm going to prove Albert Einstein's theory wrong. I will do that. I have the information to do that already. I'm about to ask him some questions. But don't worry, he was a child of God. How that worked, I don't know, but Albert Einstein was a child of God. Albert Einstein fucked up the theory of relativity big time. Big time. Big time. Don't worry, we're going to get to that. But if you try to prove me wrong and you can't prove me wrong, you prove me right. Alright? Atheists, I want you to take one statement that proves God not to be real. One statement. Atheists, I want you to give me one fact that will prove God not to be real objectively. Yet again, if I ask questions, I'm questioning the bullshit. But I'm only going to assert a statement with an objective fact, because if atheists, you like to assert the truth a lot. But you assert the truth because your information does not hold any bounds. It does not assert itself. Atheists, I'm going to spit out information and let my information assert for me. Because when you know the objective truth, your information can assert for you. Atheists, yet again, I'll say again, I like to repeat myself because it's like the first time it's establishing a point, the second time it's rubbing it in your face. Atheists, I want you to take one objective fact that you can prove that we can all verify, a verifiable fact for the public. I say this and rant on this so much because science is a lot of times, theoretical science literally is fairy tales. And it has the same basic definition. And it even starts off the same. The Big Bang Theory starts off 14.6 billion years ago in a far, far away galaxy. But A, galaxies didn't exist yet per them. But that's how it starts off. B, long, long ago, far, far away. Long, long ago, far, far away is how fairy tales start off, and that's how your theories start off. Atheists, I'm coming for your ass. What I'm saying is, it only takes, if I were wrong, it would only take one of you with one objective fact to prove me wrong. So, atheists, I'm going to extend a peace treaty to you. If you can give me one fact that proves God out to be real, I'll accept it. One objective, verifiable fact that we can all verify for ourselves. We can all perform an existence, verify for ourselves. Atheists, you can't do this. Why? Because God is real and you're stupid. And you started a religion out of spite for Christians because you didn't like their doctrine. You didn't like a doctrine that requires you to be a good person, and that's because you're a shitty person. So not only am I going to mop the floor with you intellectually because you pick on Christians for believing in a God who loves them, because that's why you pick on Christians, I'm going to bully you intellectually, and then I'm going to constantly remind you that it's your own fault because you're a shitty person. Atheists, I'm coming for your ass. You can't tell yet.